Yo, 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 what's good, my people? It's your boy Jason Gooner. And you don't know, we're back again with some content. Read the reggae. Boys, of course, we have another big game coming up in about 6 hours or so, a little under 6 hours. Jamaica will be taking on Ecuador in Las Vegas at the Allegiant Stadium, home of the Las Vegas Raiders, right? So yes, we have a big one, huge one coming up today, people. Of course, you know Ecuador and Jamaica similarly on 0 points, currently cellar dwellers in Group B of the Copa America. So both teams will be needing to get a result today. So we're going to talk about the predicted 11s. We're going to talk about some tactics as well, try to figure out how both teams are going to look to approach this game. And we're also going to take a look at some key players to look out for as well. We do have something that I want to take care of before we get into the tactics, and that is we're going to listen to the press conference that was done yesterday. Of course, Dexter Lembikisa representing the players, and of course, head coach Jaime Hallgrimsson as well. So we're going to listen to that, give our reaction to that as well, and then we'll dive right into the tactic preview. You know, we're going to pull up the tactical pad on the screen. Today, I'm going to really be showing you guys what I think is the predicted 11, not necessarily what Jason Gooner himself would do, but what I think based on the coach, what he's saying in the press conference, what we've seen in the first game, this is what I think he might go with. And I'm going to do the same for Felix Sanchez and Latri or Ecuador. So it's going to be a good one, people, full of facts, full of good information, full of analysis. Of course, if you were with the channel when we did the tactical preview of the first game, I actually did predict the lineup in terms of the formation, the 3-4-2-1 system. So we'll see what I think he'll come with in this one this time. But I do think that he gave some clues in his press conference. So we're gonna listen to those, and you guys tell me if you can hear them as well. And yeah, we are gonna go from there. So you already know the things that we have to say when we do YouTube videos, people. You need to like the content, like the video. Yes, smash that like button wherever you see that thumbs up button on the screen, whatever you're looking at, whatever device you're looking at. Lukaku already missing a chance. You need to press the like button, people. Next, I would love if all of you who watch the video today share it. Share it in whatever group you're in. Share it to your friends, your family. I think that anyone who enjoys Reggae Boys or football in general will enjoy the content. So at least let them be the judge. So share it to them and let them see it for themselves. And then, of course, if you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Turn on those bell notifications as well. So every time we go live, you can be aware that the screen is on and we are talking the football. Big up yourself, Demo Dre. Yeah, man. Fire, 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 fire. No, Demo is the president of the Believe. Believe no man, So I know Demo is feeling confident today going into this one, getting those 3 points. We need them. So let's see if the Reggae Boys can pull it off. All right. So we're not going to hitch no more, people. I want to play the press conference. I'm not going to put it on screen or anything, but I will just listen to the press conference itself. Yeah, man, let them know if you like up the screen, man. Yeah, man, them need to do that. All right, people. So some of you may have heard this already, but I want to go ahead and play it. Let me know if the volume is good.
From FNews,
Just give me a thumbs up.
So I would like to know your thoughts about Ecuador. What do you expect from this match, and what do you think of this national team?
Well, I know Felix quite well, so I know what kind of football style he would like to play. There's been, we've analyzed them, of course, really well, seen a lot of games. All pretty similar. They are really aggressive, physical. They have really strong midfielders, so I think the strength is their midfield trio, but still they play a lot on the flanks, deliver the ball from the flanks. But most of all, it's the energy in this team. It's the commitment in this team that is going to be the trickiest for us to defend. But no wonder I would say this team was supposed to be the top team in this group and was expected to qualify from this group. I can surely understand why everybody expected them to win this group. So they are now under a little bit of pressure after losing the first game. So I think they will even be more intense when they come to this tomorrow.
Okay, and then focusing on your team, how are the guys, and how do you live this moment after the first match? How important is it for you, for your country as well? How are you living this moment? You're in Vegas, by the way.
Vegas is a wonderful city, and we're trying to enjoy the moment. Being in Copa America, it's a huge tournament, so we're trying to enjoy it. We thought after the Mexico match, it was a good one, good performance from the players. But still, we lost the game, and that is always like this for teams. If I can count us as underdogs in this group, the lowest ranked team in the group, even though you have a good game, you always have the possibility of losing the match. So no, we just want to at least show the same performance against Ecuador, and let's see what it brings us in. If we have a point or two, hopefully it will be 2 points. But I think the performance, we can build on that. There was a lot of positives from our last game. So hoping for a better result, but hoping for at least the same performance as last game. You want to add to this, Dave?
Well, obviously, against Mexico, we did play a good game. We couldn't quite get the win, but I think we can take positives from it. And the boys all win good cheer, so we're ready for the next game. That's it.
Thanks. I'm enjoying this, and yeah. So, no, actually, one of the football players you have that I follow the most and that I like the most since like a lot of years is Antonio. I would like to know from you guys how is he, in the locker room. I know him as a forward. Always like how he plays. So yeah, we'd like to know from both of you, what do you think of him, both in the pitch and outside the pitch? You're laughing, so that's gonna be interesting, I think.
Yeah, well, outside the pitch, as you can tell, he's quite a funny person, a happy person. He's good to be around, and of course it's lovely to play with him as well. He's played in the Prem for how many years, and obviously he can help you going forward with his hold-up play, with his runners in behind, and he's an experienced striker, so it's good to play with him.
Yeah, a little bit crazy person. Always like Dex said, always fun around him. He enjoys what he's doing. And amazing work rate in this guy. He's a huge professional, in my opinion. Probably should be playing American football by the size of his body, but he's doing this, and the effort he put in, for example, in our last game was amazing. The runs he took, and the power probably that went into that match for him was amazing. And he's just leading by example. He's one of the senior players in our squad, so he's leading by example, and it's fantastic to have a guy like this in our squad and in our team.
Kerry James, Football in 90. I have a question for Dexter first and then one for the coach. So Dexter, even though you're still young, you're like a staple in the team now. You've been to pretty much all of the most recent camps. How do you find the vibes in the camp, and how do you see your role in helping the newer players kind of fit in?
Yeah, well, it's good, man. It's thanks to coach, and of course thanks to Jesus that I've got this opportunity to come and play for the national team, and it's been amazing so far coming to these tournaments and even playing in the friendlies, having an international call-up. But I'm enjoying every bit of it. And for the young generation, obviously, they see that coach can give them a chance. If we perform, he'll play us, so I think it can inspire them in that way. But so far, it's been great, the atmosphere, the vibes, all the boys. Since I've came in, they've all been welcoming, so I've enjoyed it by the grace.
Good. And coach, question from the Mexico game. So in the 68th minute, you made a double sub. Damien for Demi, and then Michael for Dish. You want to expound on your thinking behind the two substitutions?
No, there was at this moment I thought Mexico had the upper hand, so just wanted fresh legs. I think our depth is always growing in the squad. So rotating was in this case, I think, a good thing. Fresh legs that came in with energy, experience both. So and we are planning always to go far in this competition. So we need to distribute the load between the players. Some of these players are coming in from a break or a little injuries, etc. So 90 minutes probably not the time in the beginning of the tournament. But these changes were just to find in space for fresh legs, a little bit change of tactics, etc. So with no injuries or nothing on that side.
Here, good afternoon. My name is Guillermo Barros from AFP news agency. My question is for both. Given the history of Jamaica and Copa America and coming into this edition, and also the defeat against Mexico in the first match, do you feel that the players are feeling the pressure to achieve the first win, even to score the first goal? And just you have said in the past that your background as a dentist sometimes have helped you in to deal with these kind of challenges in the locker room.
Well, for sure, when you lose the first game in a competition, there's pressure on you, and I think we all know it, both the players and the staff, and everyone knows that the second game is then much more important if you lose the first game. But if you look at Ecuador, that was predicted as the winners from this group, is probably even more pressure on them. So I think we can come here and be relaxed and try to enjoy and just give everything we have and see what that leads to in results. But there's always pressure in these games, but always more when you lose the first game. So we need to have something to stay in the competition, and we really are doing everything to stay in the competition. We think we have the squad to do that. Are you feeling it?
Of course, in football there's always pressure, but I think it's good to have pressure. You know, it keeps you on your toes, keeps you ready for the next games to achieve what you want to achieve in the game. But I think it's good, like any other game. Like in football, you feel the pressure, but you don't think too overly of it. You just play and try to enjoy and try to stick to the game plan and win the game. So I think it's good.
Both teams have been training here in both high temperatures these days. Do you think that the heat from the preparation can be a factor in the match?
Not in the match itself, but these trainings of course take a lot of energy away from the players. It's close to 40 degrees. We have tried to train really early in the morning to avoid the hottest hours, and I think that's a good thing as well. So we can have long breaks after the trainings if the players would like to rest, etc. So no, I think it will be a factor. Is not on one side, so it's going to be equal. But we play indoors in an air-conditioned stadium, so that is a good thing. Not to need to play outside in 43 degrees at 3 o'clock. So no, that's a good thing that the game is played indoors. But otherwise, yeah, I think it will be a factor. It would probably not be as high tempo as if we would be training, for example, indoor all the time.
Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for coming. See you tomorrow.
No question at the back.
All right, so that was the pre-match press conference, Jamaica versus Ecuador. So I saw some comments coming in during it, and the main question that I really wanted to hear since the post-match was kind of the reasoning behind the substitutions, not necessarily the timing of them, because I do think fresh legs were needed, maybe even 10 minutes prior. But I wanted to kind of understand the thinking behind changing an attacking player, bringing on a center back who's going to essentially play midfield, and changing one of the back three in what I thought was the most, best, what I thought was the best performing unit on the pitch, which was the back five. Making a change there to kind of move things around there and shuffle the deck there. I wanted to know, why he thought that was the right thing to do. So, during the live watch along, I had mentioned that, and I said, well, if it's not disclosed that Bernard asked to be subbed or was injured, then I don't know if there's an explanation that makes sense to me for that sub. So I got a little bit of closure to that. It was just a tactical decision. He wanted fresh legs, and I thought it was kind of telling that he mentioned the depth in the team is growing and they plan to go far in the tournament, when I have always been saying since this team was picked that I thought the balance wasn't there, especially in those midfield places. And even also in that, because basically the way I saw the system, he had a 3-4-2-1. And even though Gray and Nicholson had the license to go wider, it was obvious that in possession, he wanted them to get more compact and drop. And I thought they did a really good job of doing that for the first maybe 40, 35 minutes or so of the game. Got stretched towards the end of the first half. And then again in the second half, for maybe the first 10 minutes of that second half, I thought they did the job well. As the game got more stretched, Mexico started to put their foot on the gas after conceding what was a offside goal. You could see that they went up a level. And I think that the players that we had in the system, Gray and Nicholson, maybe that's not the best role for them to play. Definitely not for an extended period of time. And you could see where their tactical discipline started to wane. As that happened, that the middle two got more stretched, trying to cover more ground since they weren't getting the help from Nicholson or Gray anymore. And it was a domino effect. That's why the team started to get deeper. So for me, the change I would have probably made in that situation, I would have kept the back five intact for sure. If I believe that one of the two midfielders were tired, which, at that time he didn't take them off. He took Bernard off and he took Gray off. I would have probably went for just taking Gray and Nicholson off one time. It was clear that Gray was struggling a bit to get into the game, and I think the way that we were playing tactically really hampered his game. He wasn't really playing necessarily that true wing role that he has been in certain systems when he's played for Jamaica. And I think that was a part of the reason why we didn't see him as much in the attacking phase. I thought he did the tactical job pretty well. We didn't get overloaded in midfield for the most part for the first 55 minutes or so. I thought at times, our compactness maybe put a strain on Greg Lee and Lembikisa on those flanks because they were overloading us there. But we did a decent enough job of sticking with the runners, and they didn't really cut us open so often in that first half. In the second half, though, that was a different story. And I think a part of that was, the system we played. Maybe I think Bobby Reid and Palmer would have been maybe better suited to play the role that Gray and Nicholson were playing in that system. But the lack of true defensive midfield options, or at least defensive midfield options that the coach trusts, because he does have Lambert there, he does have Karai Anderson there, he did mention in the press conference post-match, not this one I just played, but the post-match press conference, that Lowe had missed a few sessions due to family time, needing to be with his family. So, that was probably a part of the reason why we saw Bobby Reid playing deeper in the system. I do believe if Lowe was there all week, it more than likely would have been Lowe and Palmer, and then Bobby Reid would have been playing where Shamar Nicholson was playing. But, we'll never know. But we'll know today because he has the full complement of his players. As far as I know, no one has left camp. Everyone is there. So we'll see what kind of 11 he goes with the squad being able to fully prepare everybody there and see if he changes up things today or what he does. And we're going to get to that in the predicted 11. But just to close off that press conference, I want to shout out, I think it was Kerry that asked that question, Football in 90, Kerry James. Very thankful that he asked the question so the coach could answer it directly. I still feel like the explanation was a bit off. He said he wanted to go for experienced, fresh legs. No injuries, concerns. That wasn't the reason for the sub. Just wanted experienced, fresh legs. The only thing I would have asked him, and of course, in a setting like this, you get one question. You can't really ask follow-ups, but I would have loved to have been in the room and maybe ask, thanks for explaining why you made substitutions, but can you speak a little bit more directly to what you were thinking tactically, replacing an attacking player in your system or an attacking midfielder type player in your system and then bringing on Damian Lowe? Do you think that had any negative effect on the team in terms of just the optics being an 0-0 game? Yes, at the time we weren't, we were kind of hanging on. But at the same time, I don't think it was the fault of the system per se. I think it was just the players in the system grew tired. So I wasn't sure. I have my doubts about that sub, mainly because I thought it was no need to change anything on the back line. I don't believe Hector made sense there. I would have, even if you wanted to bring Low on for more steel, the other sub would have had to have been a Cephas, a Dixon, even a Karai Anderson. And then you can push Palmer and Bobby Reed further forward and put, a fresh two in that midfield, Low and Anderson to close out that part of the game. So, hindsight is 2020, of course. Everybody's a genius after the fact. But in real time, I was saying that sub didn't make much sense. So you can't really, level that claim towards me. So another thing that was a theme that was brought up by one of the reporters was the pressure. And actually, when I was making my title for the video, I was going to include, which team is under more pressure. Is it Ecuador or Jamaica to win this game? Now, the reporter kind of framed it as pressure because, of course, we've yet to score a goal at the Copa America. We've yet to gain a point. We've yet to win a match, obviously. He just wanted to know if the boys feel the pressure of that. The coach said, of course, anytime you lose the first game in a group stage setting, obviously the second game is much more important. So it looks like Slovakia take the lead in the other game in this group. Wow, this group is tied up completely. Everybody started the day with 3 points. Ukraine, Belgium still 0-0, and it's 1-0 to Slovakia right now. I'm actually watching the Ukraine-Belgium game, or at least it's on because I can't really watch it fully. Bless up, namesake. Big up. Blessing Sean, what go on? Yeah, man, let them know, like up the live. Yeah, so the pressure to win. Obviously, we as Reggae Boys fans, we definitely would like to see the team get the first points in the Copa. I think 1 point, doesn't end our tournament for us, but I honestly believe that if we don't get the 3 points today, it's gonna be maybe too much of a task to get through. Of course, that will be dependent on what happens in the next game with Venezuela and Mexico, which will be after our game tonight, which I might do a live stream for. I'm not sure. Just depends. I'll either do a post-match or a live stream. I'm not really certain, but I'll probably be doing some kind of content late night as well. Obviously, we'll be doing the live match watch along of the Reggae Boys today. Have that set for I think 4:45, about 4:45. So somewhere between 4:30 and 4:45 my time, I will be on for that. So look out for that, people. Make sure you drop your likes on that for me. I'll probably drop that in the comment section at some point during this show, so that you can head over there and drop some likes so you can get out there in the algorithm and everything. Another thing I want to touch on about the press conference we just listened to, Dexter Lembekisa made a comment that, obviously since he's been in the team, it's been great. The guys have welcomed him well into the team. And he said, even though he's a younger player, the coach has proven that if players perform, he will play them. And I think that's somewhat true. I do think that there are some players maybe that performed well and haven't gotten another chance or as many chances to play. I think one of those players would definitely be Karai Anderson. I mean, obviously, with his youth and everything, I'm sure that, especially the role that he plays with Jamaica, that central midfield role, it's not you rarely see inexperienced players playing in those roles, but I think the options that we have there, I think we need to throw that out the window at this point and just try to put the most competent players there. I think Karai, for me, needs to get way more minutes in this team. I think what he offers, the way we try to play football, I think he offers a bit more drive than some of the other options we've been using there. I think he has a bit more of a defensive mind than some of the other options we've been using there as well. And yeah, he seems to be one that, even though he's very energetic, understands the position and positional play pretty well. So, I think for a lot of reasons, I would have him out there in this game here. But we'll see what the coach does. So, people, at this moment, smash the like button. Don't forget to do that, people. Make sure you're smashing the like button for me. Let's go ahead now and pivot into the tactical board, and let's take a look at what the two coaches probably will use on the day. So let me add this here. Make sure I save this. All right, so let's share the screen. Smash that like button, people. All right, so you guys should be seeing this now. Yes. All right, so I have it loaded up, people. Let's have to open it. Jamaica versus Ecuador predicted. All right, so if you look on the screen, people, this is my predicted 11s for both teams. I think the coach will employ the same system today, that 3-4-2-1 system. I think there were a lot of aspects and times in the game where it worked for us. I think the key is going to be, as I said, even in the first game when I predicted this formation, the key is going to be these two players, Damari Gray, and for me in today's match, Bobby Reed. They will have to understand the importance of being compact out of possession and also knowing when to be that outlet and pushing a little bit more wide to try and outnumber them on the counter if we do happen to turn them over. So it's going to require a lot of energy. I don't think that both of these players will be able to play the full 90 minutes, but if we can duplicate what we did for large portions of the first half and the first 10 minutes of the second, I think we'll put Ecuador under a bit of pressure. Let's just go through the 11 that I'm predicting from the goalkeeper all the way to the forward line. So I think Jamal Lewait keeps his place. I think the back three stays intact from what we started off with versus Mexico, with Latibo there in the central area, Bernard right, and Pinnock left. I was a bit surprised that the coach went for this, but in game time, I did realize why. I think Pinnock, I think people say that Pinnock is slow, but I don't really see that him being slow. I think he's just gangly, which sometimes might make people, people look at him and think that he's slow. I don't really find him as a slow player, and I do think that his football IQ kind of, lends itself to him not having to chase as much as some. So I don't mind him in that role. I also think he does a good job of starting the attacks down that left side. Can play that, pass along the ground with pace, very accurate. So, I don't mind him there on the outside. And I think Latibo there, when he's in the middle, maybe does not have to man mark anyone, which I think as a centre back at about 6 feet, 5'11", that could be a weakness for him, just somebody posting him up. So you would rather Pinnock and Bernard have to deal with that physicality from whatever striker is up there, and Latibo there can play more the sweeper role. So when you factor in all the aspects of everything, I do agree with him putting him in the center, Pinnock left, and Bernard right. I think Lee and Lembikisa keep their place. Maybe there could be a shout for giving Wes Harding a chance. The coach did mention the tournament being a long one, and maybe 90 minutes for all might not be the smartest thing. And both of these players, Lee and Lembikisa, did play the 90 minutes, but I'm just not sure. One could argue maybe Harding right and Lembikisa plays on the left. You see the quality that he has on his left foot. That great cross he put into Antonio, who was offside, was with his left. The goal he scored against Panama was with his left. So he truly can use both feet very well. Greg Lee, for me, a solid player, usually 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 every time. Can he give us a bit more going forward, maybe? Sometimes a bit loose with the passing. Maybe needs that extra half a second to get off his decision, which sometimes got him into trouble against Mexico. We're not really going to be having much more time against this Ecuador team. Also another hard pressing team, like to win the football back quickly and get back into possession. So, Lee will have to improve there in seeing the pictures a bit faster, cleaning up the touch, and going from there. But I think just continuity wise, one could argue, as I said, that, Harding on the right, Lembikisa on the left. I think the coach, though, again, this is my predicted 11 people. Before the show is over, though, I will definitely be changing it up and doing what I would have done. But again, I wanted to take a crack at just the predicted 11. So you guys snap a shot of this and we'll see how close I was to what the coach does today. And also for Ecuador side as well, because we're going to predict that 11 as well. But for the two wing backs, as I said, Lembekisa and Lee, I think in the midfield pivot is where we'll see the changes. He did mention after the post-match of the Mexico game that Lowe did miss some training sessions due to some family issues he had to go take care of. I think Lowe has been back in camp since the last game, and I think if he hadn't left, he probably would have started against Mexico. So I think he comes back into the team, Damian Lowe, and this prediction might be wrong, but I think that Casey Palmer, who played the entire 90, Bobby Reed, who played the entire 90, I don't think he's going to put him back in this role for this game. I think he's going to want a fresh pivot. And for me, the next in line would be Karai Anderson based on playing time recently. So I think it's going to be Lowe and Anderson based on what the coach was saying about trying to keep it fresh. I know he knows that those two players are probably the ones that you have to keep the most fresh in the system we play. So I think he's going to change that up to Lowe and Anderson there. I think Demarai Gray is going to keep his place. I know a lot of people are saying he was struggling with his injury. I agree he did not look 1,000 or 100%, but I do think that what he gives you in those moments is too much to not utilize. An argument could be made. Obviously, a lot of the Jamaica fan base is, saying Cephas or Dixon must start. I've even seen some saying both must start. I still feel like those two will give us a much better output off the bench. That's just my personal opinion. But the predicted 11 that I think he will go with will have the Reed and Gray combination. And that's mainly because I think he thinks that they can operate a little better in those half spaces they might occupy when they get compact and we do win the ball back. He probably trusts them a bit more to kind of understand that tactical way that we'll have to play to make sure we're not outnumbered in a midfield that Ecuador is sure to put a lot of numbers into. And of course, number 9 on the predicted 11 for me is going to be Mikel Antonio. I think that his ability to drive us forward, his ability to hold up play, his ability to run into all the channels, whether right or left, and put pressure on the defenders is something that we don't want to not have from the start. I think if he does his job, he will probably need to be subbed off at some point. I think in the Mexico game, I don't believe that he was really showing signs of being so tired. But again, the coach is looking to going far in the tournament and he doesn't want to, basically burn out the players. But for me, Antonio, as long as he's not injured, I would probably keep him on the pitch for most of the game, if not all of the game. I know a lot of people are kind of up and down with Antonio right now because he's not necessarily scoring goals, which is a fact. You can't go around the facts. But at the same time, I do feel like Antonio is a part of the reason why the Grays of the world, the Baileys of the world, the other players on the pitch, Reed, they get chances to score. I think Antonio demands so much attention. Anytime he got wide against Vasquez on the left or wide on the right against Montez, you immediately saw the CDM or another midfielder coming over there. He just draws attention. So the key for Antonio is to notice those things and release it quickly. When that is happening, I do think that we can find some joy if Antonio can be found and players can make smart runs around him. So we should be getting in at points of the game. And, if that final third passing can improve the percentage a bit, I do think that we can convert some of these entries, which I thought we had a decent amount of entries versus Mexico. We just didn't convert them into enough goal scoring or even shooting opportunities as far as I'm concerned. So if that can improve, I think we'll be better off today against Ecuador. But let's take a look now at the Ecuador 11. And this is, again, the predicted 11 people. I don't really think that there'll be much change from the 11. Obviously, there will be one forced change. Ener Valencia, the talisman, the captain, leading goal scorer, did receive a red card, so he'll be out for this game. I think they're going to go with Kevin Rodriguez as the striker. It could have been him or Jordi Caicedo, but I went for Rodriguez just due to the fact that I think he is a little more mobile than Caicedo. And I just feel like, it might be a more fluid front line where you at times you might see Sarmiento through the middle, you might see Yeboah through the middle. Paez might be in a false nine, and Rodriguez is a little bit more adept at drifting out wide than Caicedo. And I think Felix would like to keep that fluidity in that front line. Of course, Ener Valencia, while he is the striker and does play more on the last man, I don't think Rodriguez is a similar type of profile, and I think that Felix will use the coach from Ecuador will try to use that to his advantage, to try to move around that back three that had some really good stability and compactness versus Mexico for the most part, barring maybe that 10-minute stretch from about about 15-minute stretch from minute 55 to minute 70, where we got a bit stretched pretty much all over the pitch. But yeah, if we can keep compact, they'll be trying to combat that by just having different movements in that front four. I think Caicedo and Franco is one for me that might get replaced, but I think he might stay with that pivot today. Moises Caicedo, obviously everyone would know from Chelsea, prior of Brighton, very, very good player. Really solid in that midfield. Definitely somebody that is somewhat a magnet to the ball when he's defending, and really, really firm in the challenge. So hopefully we can be aware of his presence. I do think that he takes risks when he tackles as well. So if we can get Gray on the ball around him, Reed on the ball around him with some clever turns, hopefully we can get him booked or something like that. But you have seen in this Copa America, if unless somebody's arm or leg is broken, sometimes you might not even get a foul. So I wouldn't be hoping for yellow cards or red cards today. I think Valencia, kicked the guy in his chest and got the red card. I think something similar would have to happen for somebody to get a red card, a kick in the face or something like that. Because these refs, the ref, I don't know if you guys watched, but the ref last night in that, who was playing last night, the last game? It's slipping me. Argentina and Chile. Yo, that was like a wrestling match, brother, a rugby match. And the ref barely called foul. So I don't know. It's like them under instructions. One Love say, LOL, Jamaica now win a match. Jano One Love. Please stop bust your brain. Well, we have to put out the content, brother, because me there I try to figure out how we can win the game. I have some ideas maybe we could. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to reason it out. Bless up yourself, Rob Smith. Demo say Harding for Lee. Yeah, I could see it. Would you put Dexter? Okay, and you would put Dexter left back. Yeah, of course. All right, cool. Does Belgium have the worst kits ever? Yeah, these kits are bad. These are bad kits. I don't know who told them that the burgundy with this blue color would have looked good. But yeah, it don't look so right at all. Yeah, it don't look so good. He has always started Parma when healthy. That is true. That is very true. If you look at it though, Rob, the last window, I guess the Nations League window, he played both games, yes. Then he was suspended, didn't play Dam Rep, he played against Dominica. Then he played the first game. He played the Honduras game, and he started the next game after that against Haiti as well. Yeah, you're right, of the predicted 11, that's probably one of the main ones that I'm up in the air about, the Anderson one. I think I'm saying is his predicted 11, but I'm forcing my thoughts onto that as well. And I think Casey is good, Casey could easily play. To be honest, in this system, I think Casey would work in Gray or Reed's role. I think it would fit him because he's not going to be shy about getting compact and into the midfield when we lose it. And he'll collect in those half spaces when we win it. So I don't mind him in that further forward role for Gray or Reed. I know people saying Gray might not be 100. Maybe it's better to bring him on when the game more stretched and he can play more of an actual winger role. So maybe Palmer and Reed in those roles as well might work. I agree Dixon and Cephas are spark players for us. No, I can't start Antonio in a game. I need goals. He don't score goals. Coach Grimm said he's resting players as he wants to go far in the tournament. We have to win matches for that, boss. Absolutely. Bless up. Yeah, the Haiti and Honduras game, that was a back-to-back game I was thinking about in the stadium, in that window. So I was trying to figure out which window and play both, but actually it's two of them, the Honduras Haiti one and the Nations League finals window as well. He played both. And I guess it's only because he was on a yellow card, he never play the dumb rep game. Yeah. All right, so yeah, this is my tactical team, people. This is my predicted 11. So not Jason Gooner's squad. This is just my predicted 11. This right here is a true comment though, so I might have gotten that one wrong, but I'm gonna leave it. So once again, waiting goal, Pinnock, Latibodier, and Bernard left to right on the back line. Left to right again in midfield, you have Lee, Lowe, Anderson, and Lembikisa. And then the two behind the striker, a little bit more central withdrawn. You have Gray and Reed, and then you have Mikel Antonio as the lone striker in the system. So that would be my predicted 11 for later. Again, the Ecuador 11, I think when you look at key players to watch out for in this 11, obviously, everybody would be saying Moises Caicedo. I do think that Hincapié and Pacho on that left side, two very, very strong defenders as well. Either one could play left back or center back, so they could literally switch and it would be fine as well. I think Hincapié has a little bit more going forward. Did play in a very attacking Bayer Leverkusen team last season as a left center back that got forward as well. So he's kind of fine getting forward. I do think that, as I said before, it's going to be a lot of movement in this front four when you talk about Sarmiento, Kendry Paez, Yeboah, and Rodriguez. I think that pretty much all of them can play anywhere in the front four. If Paez is the most attacking player in the system, as he was after the red card at times, it will probably be more of a false nine type of system. But I do think that Jamaica will have to, be wary of the interchange of these players. Sarmiento can switch sides, can play through the middle as well. All three of them can pretty much interchange. So that will be something to watch against them. But for me, the key players will be Kendry Paez. I think he was relatively quiet. I think he's one of the players that was greatly affected with them being down a man. Somebody that's going to want to get on the ball, break lines with the passes, can shoot from range as well. So we have to be wary of that. So yeah, just a very, very talented player. Can't even say man, still a kid, 17 years of age. Pretty much starting for his club team in Ecuador since he was about 15, 16 years old. And at all levels that he's had a chance to show his skills, he has shown that he definitely is a top player. So Kendry Paez is one that we have to keep quiet today. Also, I'd have to say Hincapié as well, somebody down that left side. I do think that he does really bomb up and down that side a lot. It'd be interesting to see as the game and the possession stats start to bear out. If they do have a lot of possession, that is a spot I think we could get them out on the counter. Both wings really, but I think that Hincapié wing especially because he's a taller player, a little more gangly, kind of similar to Pinnock, but I do think that at times, if they have a lot of possession, he can get caught a bit too far upfield. So the transition from defense to offense for Jamaica will need to be crisp. And I think we need to target certain areas. And one of those areas, I would say, is behind that space in behind Hincapié and Preciado as well. Preciado, more of an attacking player on that side. But again, I do think that at times when Ecuador is in the ascendancy in possession, they happen to really press all the way up the pitch with everybody. Torres and Pacho probably stay back. Caicedo gets into the attack. Franco is the one that would normally sit a little deeper. So yeah, there will be an opportunity if we can turn them over in the right areas, play that outlet ball to one of the middle third or the attacking third, and then make the runs off of that player that receives. We could get some joy on the counter attack. I think this game, when you take a look at the teams and how they have played recently, statistic wise, obviously Jamaica would be struggling to win the possession battle against a team like Ecuador, and pretty much any team in the CONMEBOL region for the most part. So let's just take a look at Ecuador's last game they played against Venezuela. I mean, the stats are a little skewed, as I said before. Everybody knows they got a red card in the game, so that can affect how the stats bear out. But see any kind of information from that last game they played against Venezuela the other day. So let me get this tactical pad off of the screen for 1 second. And let's go ahead now and look at the Ecuador-Venezuela matchup that just took place. And just take a look at the statistics themselves. Where did it go? Ecuador matches. All right, so let's go now. Let's put it up larger. Okay, so this was what they went with in the first game. As you can see, I'm just saying that they're just going to make a straight swap here in the attack. I could be wrong on that. As I said before, Alan Franco could be replaced by a Carlos Gruezo, who plays in the MLS. Caicedo could take the spot where I'm putting Kevin Rodriguez. But other than that, I think everything else will stay intact. Preciado didn't have the best game, but I think he will keep his place at right back. Backline should stay intact as well. Dominguez, the veteran, 37 years old now, but still their number one. So I think he'll stay in the goal as well. So that's what we have to look forward to as far as their lineup. But let's take a look at the actual raw statistics from this game. So Venezuela had the edge in possession, 66-34. And again, I think a lot of that can have to do with them having the majority of, well, the advantage of the players on the pitch for about 65-70 minutes of this game. They allowed 4 big chances. Ecuador still created 2 big chances in the match with their one man less in the game. They were outshot 14-9. They committed 20 fouls, so they're definitely an aggressive physical team. Definitely had to go more direct once they were down to 10. So 252 passes for them attempted in a game is very low. Let's see as well. Shots on target was pretty even, actually, 5-4. So, they're very, very accurate with their shooting on the day for the most part. And they did miss 2 big chances as well. So, they were down to 10 men and they still managed to, be 2-1 in the game. And also a lot of the goal scoring metrics in this game were pretty even. So that just tells me that, they're a hard-working team. Even with even a man down, they were still able to somewhat stay in this game in terms of the goal scoring opportunities. As you can see, the accurate pass is very low for them, 178-420. Again, skewed a bit because of the 10 versus 11. Final third entries, they still managed 53 on the day to Venezuela 76. And yeah, that's pretty much the story of most of the main stats in this game. And yeah, that is something that is very telling, that they were able to still make a game of it for the most part. Still create chances, still take shots on target with the man disadvantage. As you can see in the attack momentum, before that red card, Ecuador pretty much was on top of everything in this game. Right after the red card, Venezuela put their foot on the gas for a long spell, and then against the runner play a bit, Sarmiento got that goal in the 40th minute. And if you look at the second half, it was all Venezuela for the most part, but with 3 little spells here where Ecuador did get back into it. So let's see if we can look at a previous game from Ecuador, mainly because I want to see the stats of a game where they didn't get a red card. So let's look at their last friendly pre this Copa America, which for most teams that played friendlies was, the clearest snapshot of what to expect at the actual tournament. So let's look at this game. They played Honduras and they defeated them 2-1. As you can see, it was 1-1 for a long time. And then Hincapié came up with a goal at the end of the match in the 89th minute to give them the 2-1 win. But I wanted to look at the attack momentum here. Ecuador really dominated for the most part. Honduras had a good stretch in the first half of playing decent. Second half, not as much. Ecuador really was on the gas. But let's look at the statistics and pay specific attention to the passing metrics of this game compared to that last one we just looked at. So right away, 71-29. Now, of course, Honduras, a CONCACAF opponent, maybe not. I wouldn't say a team that doesn't want possession, but perhaps against an opponent like Ecuador, they more than likely sat into a bunker for this game. I didn't watch this game, but I did actually look at the stats before when I was trying to scout for these teams in this tournament. But I just want to show you guys what I saw. So 71% to 29. They had 3 big chances, but Honduras did create 2 big chances as well. 14-9 on the shots. Goalkeeper was forced to make 7 saves from Honduras. Look at that. This is not accurate passes, but they attempted 606, which is a huge jump from what we just saw in the last one. And I think this is a bit more in line with what they would normally want to be doing. 15 tackles to 14, pretty even. Total shots on target, 9-4 in favor of Ecuador. Big chances missed, 1 apiece for each team, but 2 big chances scored for Ecuador, 1 for Honduras. Let's see, touches in the area, foul in final third. Okay, accurate passes is what I want to look at. So I believe it was 140 something against Venezuela with the man disadvantage. Now look at this difference, 554 accurate passes to 196. So for me, I think this would be a good metric to look at to see how this game today might play out. Hopefully, we don't have a 350 pass margin between us and them, but I think it's going to be at least 200 or so. It's just going to be crucial that, and this is what I think kept Honduras in the game, the final third phase passing. So when we get in and we get an entry, this needs to be up over 60%. I would love it to be 70% or higher, but even at 66%, that is the key to why, with all that possession advantage for Ecuador, Honduras in the big chances and on the shots was not that far away from them. And they were able to be in this game, and it was 1-1 for a long stretch. See, look at this, 80% final third phase. You know, that's typical if you have a lot of possession, because you probably have more bodies in the final third when you get to the final third. But again, even if you're counter-attacking like Honduras was, 66% or 65 or higher is what I would love to see Jamaica have today. So we're gonna check these at halftime of our game, and you're gonna see that I was talking about these things earlier. And I bet you if these final third entries and final third percentage are where I would like them to be, that's gonna mean that Jamaica had some shots on target, maybe created even a couple of big chances, and we're still in the game. So that's something to look at for later, people. The final third entries and the passing in the final third phase. So yeah, those are some things that I wanted to just show you guys that kind of tells me a little bit more about Ecuador's style. Of course, their coach, Felix Sanchez, if you look at his history, he started out as a Spanish youth coach, right? And he left and went over to Qatar and became, you know, one of their coaches in their national system, worked his way up through the ranks in Qatar, eventually managing them, and was their manager at the last World Cup as well. Of course, Qatar did not fare so well in that World Cup, but you know, we saw Qatar in the Gold Cup the last time, and I think that the brand of football that they brought was a good one. It was a really good one, and they did do very well in that last, not the last Gold Cup, but the Gold Cup prior to that, I think it was. Yeah, I think that would have been what, 2021 Gold Cup prior to the World Cup. Yeah, but Felix Sanchez, you know, obviously the coach mentioned him in the press conference. You know, he would have known him from his time in Qatar. Apparently they like worked in the same building or something like that. So he would have been around him quite a bit. And yeah, I don't know if that's gonna help him in any way in this game, but we shall see. Hopefully he knows some things about his style that can help him come up with a game plan. Big up yourself, Nick. Big up yourself, Nick. Yeah, man, we're there. Do a little preview show. Don't know the big match later. As a matter of fact, let me do what I said I was going to do. I'm going to drop the pre-game watch along link in the comment section. Let's see. Yeah, people, remember to smash up that like button, share and subscribe the content. It is very, very important. So I'm dropping a link in the comment section. I'm going to pin it to the top as well. This is just a link for the live watch along later. So yeah, man, just drop some likes on that from early. Yeah, man, it greatly helps for it to get out there into the algorithm. So do that for me, all right? Respect, Dad. Respect, Dad. We in the building. We chop up some pre-game tactics and everything, trying to get some cues as to what to expect from the Ecuadorians later. Let us, our Ecuadorians, am I saying that right? Ecuadorians? Not sure. I'm the professor normally on these streams, so I don't know who in the chat going to be the professor for me, But yeah, Felix Sanchez. Preferred formation 5-3-2, but him don't play that with Ecuador. 16 matches for Ecuador. Not doing too badly. Currently in 5th in the World Cup qualifying. So if it ended today, they would be qualified, of course. But yeah, he has 9 wins, 2 draws, and 5 losses. His 5 losses, he lost to Venezuela, he lost to Argentina and Italy, and he lost to he lost to Argentina twice, Italy and Venezuela, and he lost friendly to Australia 3-1 as well. So yeah, that is what he has done so far. So 16 matches. He's been in the job since March 24, 2023. So he's 16, 9 win, 5 loss, and 2 draw. And let's compare that to his counterpart today now, Heimer Hallgrimsson. Listed as a defender. So Hallgrimsson was a defender when he played. Makes sense. Appointed September 16, 2022. He has 25 matches for the Reggae Boys. So 9 more than Felix. And his record is 10 wins, 7 draws, and 8 losses. So he has 10 wins, 7 draws, 8 losses. So 9 more games played than Felix Sanchez and only 1 more win. Those have 5 draws, 8 losses. So 3 more losses than Felix with 9 more games. Of course, his losses came to Argentina, Trinidad, Qatar, Jordan, Mexico, Canada, USA, and Mexico. So 2 to Mexico, 1 to USA, 1 to Canada. And then some losses in some friendly games, Jordan, Qatar, Trinidad, and Argentina. So in competitive matches, he has, let's see, 1 loss to Mexico in the Gold Cup semi, 1 loss to Canada in the first leg of the quarterfinals of the Nations League, 1 loss to USA in the semis at the Nations League, and then, of course, the 1-0 loss to Mexico in the first game at the Copa. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 competitive losses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So he has 16 games, competitive games, and he's lost 4 of those. So he loses 1 in 4 in competitive games right now. That's what I wonder, Daddy. Is it Ecuadorians or Ecuadorians? I'm not certain. I was expecting you to be the one to tell me. Wait, how many won? All right, let me put this on screen, people, because I don't think man make it up maybe. Let me just show you what I'm looking at. So I'm on transfer market, looking at Halgrim's run of games so far. Like I said before, he's coached 25 now for Jamaica. 16 of them were competitive fixtures. So you guys can see that on the screen, right? Yes. All right. So starting from the game against Argentina, and you can see right here on the side here where it has the hands, it will tell you that it's a friendly. So I'm starting right here from the group stage Nations League. So that's 1 game. We drew that game. So that's a draw. I'm going to go through all the competitive games. 1 draw, 2 draw, win, whereas Trinidad and St. Kitts. Then a win against Guatemala. Then a L against Mexico. Then we went into Nations League group stage matches. We had a win against Honduras, draw against Haiti, win against Grenada, and a win against Haiti, friendly. And then we went into the quarterfinals of Nations League against Canada. We had a loss and a win. Then we went to the semis and lost to US, and then won the 3rd place against Panama. Then we went to the group stage of the World Cup qualifiers, where we had 2 wins against Dominica and Dominican Republic, and then we had the loss most recently in the Copa. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 17 competitive matches he's played. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And he has 10 wins. So pretty much all his wins have come in competitive matches. He has yet to win a friendly. He's either drawn or lost all the friendlies we've played. Yeah, he's drawn or lost all the friendlies we've played. He has 10 wins, 3 draws, and 4 losses in 17 competitive games. So 10 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses in 10 competitive games, in 17 competitive games. 10 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses. So the second half in the Euro, people, it's still 0-0, Ukraine, Belgium. What is going on in the other game, though, is the question. Yeah, so this is Halgrim's full matches here, including friendlies. 25 matches, 10 wins, 7 draws, 8 losses, 36 goals for, 31 against, for a points per match of 1.48. I think Felix Sanchez has a 1.81 point per match currently in his 16 games. So Ukraine doing a good job of holding off Belgium here. I think currently Belgium would finish the group in second, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, there's been an equalizer in the Romania match that I didn't know about. So this group really. All right, so the live statistics right now of this group: Romania first, Belgium second, Slovakia third, based on the goals scored and all those things. Well, goal difference first and then goal scored. So yeah, that is everybody's on 4 points currently. Ukraine, really bad luck for them because typically finishing on 4 points in most group stage where there are some best 3rd place finishers. Ukraine would probably be one of those 3rd place. My team, Netherlands, advanced into being one of the top 3rd place teams. I think right now we're currently at the top of that standing, but that could change, of course. But I don't think that 4 teams can actually pass us, regardless of what results happen today. So Netherlands has scraped through. But more than likely now we have to face one of, I'm hoping it's England, because I think they're the weakest of all these teams that won the group. It could be Spain, or it could be Portugal as well. So there's a lot of variables that we could get. We could also face the number one team in this group that's currently playing, which currently would be Slovakia, I want to say. No, Romania right now. So yeah, it could be Romania that Netherlands face. So it's gonna be one either Spain, England, or Romania. I think I think Portugal is an option as well. It's Spain, England, Romania, Portugal. If we play like we played yesterday, all of the teams will beat us though. So not very don't have much hopes for the Dutch right now, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, in 17 competitive games, him win 10, draw 3, and lose 4. That's not terrible. Bless up yourself, Travis. All right, so that was a bit of a look at the background of the teams, how they're playing, what to kind of expect in this game. Let me get back to the tactical pad so we can break down the key players for Jamaica. Again, for me, the key players that I need to watch out for and need to control today is Mose Caicedo, of course, of Chelsea, Kendry Paez, soon to be of Chelsea, and also um, the left back Piero Hincapié. I think those three players are three key players for them that we need to keep quiet today. Again, this is not the 11 people. I do not know who is going to start. This is just what I'm predicting to be the 11 from Coach Hal Grimson. I think he's going to stay with the same similar system or formation, 3-4-2-1. Some might say it's a 3-4-3. I don't really think it's all the way a 3-4-3, mainly because I do think that these players are tasked with, you know, dropping a little bit narrow and compact to kind of try to not get that overload into that midfield area. Of course, when we win the ball and we're in possession, they do have license to, break left or right. But I would probably like to see more though when we get the ball. Is for Reed to still stay a little central and for Antonio to be the one kind of drifting this way. He does tend to like operating in that right channel when he's playing striker. And I think this will at least give us the balance if Antonio does lose the ball out here, where we don't have Reed and Antonio kind of wide with Dexter pushed up, and then everything's lopsided. Bernard is stretched now more to the right, which leaves more opening in the middle. He comes more wide. So, yeah, I think tactical discipline in this formation is key. And I do think that the players that I have on the pitch might be able to carry out the duties the best, especially these two, Gray and Reed, in this role. I think Reed will be much more suited to the role that he wanted Shamar to play in the first game, just tactically and overall. Um, so yeah, this is what I think the predicted 11 will look like. I think if this is the predicted 11, I think the keys are going to be, I think Jamali Wade again is going to have to come up big. I think Jamali Wade kept us in that game, especially in that stretch of minutes when, it looked like it was just an avalanche of attack coming against us from the Mexican side of things. He had some crucial saves. I counted maybe 4 or 5 in that 10-minute window, maybe even 6, where, you know, on another day, maybe we would have been breached a few times. So Wait again, I think has to have a huge day. Um, I think another player that has to come up trumps for us is Damian Lowe. I think Damian Lowe in the midfield. I do think that the coach is gonna put him back in there today. I think for me, the key for me is just staying in about a 30, 25 to, I'd say 20 to 25 yard radius, right? I don't need Damian Lowe thinking he can go win a tackle out here. I don't need Damian Lowe running past Pinnock to go tackle the man in the corner flag. I don't need any of that from Damian Lowe. I want Damian Lowe anchored somewhere in this general area of the pitch. He needs to be that foil, not too far from Latigo there, and let Roy be the one venturing different places. That would be my suggestion. I know It's tough for Damian because he's an all-action player. He wants to win the ball at all times. But I just need him to win the ball when it gets into his zone. That's all I need from Damian. I think in the last game, in his spot duty that I saw, his passing accuracy was good. I believe it was like 10 out of 12. So hopefully he can continue that on a larger scale from the start. I think part of the reason why his passing accuracy was better is he took what the game gave him. I saw him go over the top one time, but it was an obvious just dink it over and it's a lot of space. That's what I need. I don't need to see him trying to split four players with passes. Just play your game, D'Lo. Find Lee, find Pinnock, find Gray, find Antonio, find Reed, find Anderson. Pass and move, pass and move. And when you do your movements, make sure it's in that radius that I just talked about. Now, Anderson, I do, if it's Anderson, if it's Palmer, whichever one, plays beside Low in his midfield, doesn't need to, because Low is there, get crazy as well. I need to still have some tactical discipline. And they don't need to stay in such a small radius. They can have a bit more license to get forward, maybe even into the box when we get down the flanks. I do want, when they're in position, to be really in tune with Low's movement and where Low is, because I want him to be that foil just ahead of Low at times. Because again, the team looks like this in the start of the game, but in various phases of play, it's not going to look exactly like this. So the key is just having that communication with your teammates, especially the ones closest to you. As I said before, Gray and Reed in this system, very, very important that they understand the triggers of when to attack down the flank and when to, you know, get compact, get back into this. And as I said earlier, try to create some kind of box where that those half spaces in the midfield third to our attacking third are taken up and they're not being able to play through them too easily, right? So that to me is gonna be a key. So I said weight, low, and I think for me, people, the other person I think is a key player. Um, it's probably pretty obvious at this point. The man who people are saying maybe shouldn't get the nod because of his lack of goals, and that's Mikel Antonio. For me, Mikel Antonio was one of the reasons why we had one of the better stretches I can remember against Mexico. When that second half started, and even at times when we had joy in the first half, just at least playing out and getting into their attacking third, it was mainly Antonio able to latch on to passes and obviously win a duel or go around someone, put across the box. That on another day, because I do think that the Mexican keeper's handling wasn't the best, and he did fumble a few balls into the 18-yard box. On another day, that ball bounces our way and gets to one of our players and we have a chance to score a goal. So more of that needs to happen. I do think that when you look at the physicality of these defenders, they are a better match for Antonio than maybe some of the Mexicans. Pacho, Hincapié, Torres, all stronger players. If there was any player on the back line that he could maybe pick up, it would probably be Preciado, who, as I said before, can play more of a right midfield, right wing back role. So not the biggest player, but relies more on his speed and technicality. But I do think that Torres, Pacho, and Hincapié, especially, should have the physicality. Now, nobody's going to match him physically because he's a tank, but I do think that they're much better equipped than, say, a Cesar Montes and to a lesser extent, Cesar Montes, but for sure than Johan Vasquez and Arteaga was on that left side of the defense in the first game against Mexico. So, Antonio and the boys might not be able to just lump it and get so much joy against a defense like Ecuador. Um, Especially Franco and Caicedo, they're really good at picking up those second balls after that challenge and the long one. So hopefully we don't fall in love with that tactic. Um, I do think that with the back three, the wing backs, Anderson, Low, if he keeps it simple, we can buy those spells of possession that maybe push us up the pitch a bit more. So when we do go long, we have that connectivity between Antonio and one of the players that are playing one of those deeper positions. If Antonio is, let's say he's out to the left side, hopefully it doesn't go straight up there with Gray still somewhere here, Lee all the way back here, and Reed not anywhere in the attacking phase either. We need to move the pitch, we need to move the team up the pitch, and as we move up the pitch, then we look to go that little bit longer. But when we do so, we'll have Gray around the ball. We'll have Lee put further upfield. We'll have Anderson tucked in. Lowe is gonna sit as I want, right? And this right here now, when the ball is played, from, like, let's say they're passing it around the back and it gets to Bernard and he goes with the diagonal over to Antonio's area. Now we have some players around that, right? There's a chance that Antonio can get his body in front of it after one of these players. Whereas a lot of times in the first game, and it was still working because Antonio was able to bully some of their defenders. We were in a shape more like something like this, and Antonio is somewhere over here trying to win this ball, typically around maybe, these two players right here, one in front, one behind. We don't have much support around him. So even if he wins that ball, how long can he really hold it up before it's taken away or something happens where we don't have position anymore? So I think for me, the movement and the shape of the team in tandem with each other is the key. As long as we can get that down, I think we'll get some try in this one. But again, it's going to be an uphill battle. I do think that Ecuador, as the coach mentioned in the press conference, will be knowing that this is a must win for them. They really need to get this win if they want to get out of the group. And as the team that was, coming into this group, seen as the favorites or second favorites to Mexico, them and Mexico definitely were the ones in the charge as far as predictions were concerned. So yeah, they would like to prove that those predictions were the right ones for them. So this right here, people, is how I see it playing out today. A 3-4-2-1 again. Of course, can become a 3-4-3. I think that might happen later in the game when we see the likes of Dixon or coming on. We might have a more winger system, and yeah, we'll see how that plays out, though, people. But for me, two things that I would love to not see. One, I don't want it to be a 3-5-2 where it's Antonio and Nicholson. If it's a 3-5-2, it needs to be Antonio Gray, Antonio someone. But I don't think the Nicholson Antonio front line really works. I've seen it enough. I'm not. They don't play off each other well enough. It seems like a lot of their runs get in each other's way sometimes. So yeah, I don't think that whatever relationship that the coach is trying to build with them, it's not really working out in the way I'm seeing. So yeah, big up Swamptivity. Yeah, man, like the video, bro. Don't forget. He say you'd play Palmer. Palmer will start. Yeah, Dan. I know you just forward, but I did have a thought that of all the players on this predicted 11, the one that I don't really think I'm gonna get right the most is Anderson there. And I think a part of that was just my selfish thing. I wanted to put one player that I want to see. I think that's the only one that I didn't really use what I've seen Algrimson do to make that decision for me. But yeah, I could easily see Palmer in that role. Either Bobby going back to where Anderson is and Palmer playing where Bobby is, or Palmer playing beside Lowe. I'm not sure which way he would go though. The game was slowed down why he could pass the ball like that. Oh, okay. You're saying Lowe in that time. Yeah, that's true. Big up Gooner TV. I prefer your lineup. Respect. Yeah, so this is not really. I guess in a way it's kind of my lineup because if it was really truly predicted, Anderson wouldn't be on the field and Palmer would be there. So I was trying to predict it based on what I saw the coach do in the first game, or I hear him talking about the other team. So yeah. Oh, absolutely. I agree. Palmer is very comfortable with the ball. I think I just feel like he's more comfortable the further he is from his back line and the closer he is to his attacking line. So that's why I say of the two of them, I thought Reed looked more comfortable with the ball deeper, which was surprising to me. I thought they both did a decent enough job on the ball. I didn't see the incision of passing, maybe that like when they tried to go forward with passes, they weren't looking as well. But yeah, I think even if it's Reed and Palmer, I think what would make more sense if it's Low beside them is for them to just interchange after every maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. So they both get that look in the more attacking role and and a bit of time in the more withdrawn role, because I think they both can do it. Neither one of them can, that's not really their main role, but I think we saw in the first game that they're at least comfortable enough to receive from the back line. Yeah. Need to see Lati stepping up at the 6 when we defend it. It's tough, because you see if Lati step up Dan, if I think the overloads versus Mexico would have killed us, because then Pinnock would have to be more central. I don't believe that the two central midfielders were really helping out on the flanks enough. And I think that was on purpose, because we didn't want to lose the midfield battle, like the middle of the midfield. Gray and Nicholson did a good job early in the game of dropping back and helping. But I think the fact that we have the three back there, Dan, it makes Pinnock can go over there and help Lee. Because after we attack and they attack us down the flanks, it's a bit much to ask for Gray to be all the way back. And you don't really want Lower Anderson like going too wide out to the middle to not cover this top of the box cut back space. So I think it gives us enough numbers when we're getting overloaded on the wing, having the three, because if Latibo steps up, Pinnock can no longer go out and help Lee when he's overloaded. So that's, for me, the reason why I wouldn't necessarily have anybody stepping up when we're defending. A lot of time Mexico break through that pivot line between Palma and Bobby. I disagree. I don't think that's where they broke at all. If you look at most of their attacks, the break came from Jorge Sanchez and Arteaga. They were the triggers, because Gray and Reed and Nicholson weren't really engaging them all the way. They were coming compact. So they used them as the triggers. If you look at it, Luis Chavez was quiet in that game in the first half for the most part, besides the first chance he got in the box. And he had, and when he did anything, it was down the left channel, a part of the overload on that side. So I thought Jamaica's tactics actually worked in stopping them come to the midfield, from what I saw. Fix this. Dan, how much time you have to watch the game, boss? I watch it twice now, I watch the highlight them like 5 times. I don't need to watch it again. I'm just saying, Dan. We have played Mexico before, where them just run through the middle every play. That wasn't happening. There was some variation this time. Yes, Mexico is good enough to play us through the middle sometimes as well. I'm just saying, it wasn't like a floodgate in the middle. Most of the chances came from Arteaga combining with Antuna, and then they had a third player, one of the midfielders would go and make it a 3 versus 2. We did a decent job when Gray and Nicholson was more tactically aware and not as tired of combating the overload. At least it was a 3-on-3 and it wasn't a 3-on-2. And the reason why we're able to do that, Dan, is because Latibo there was central. Bernard would forward to the right side to help with the overload there. Pinnock would forward to the left side to help with the overload there. And the winger and the wing back made that 3 people. That meant that Palmer and Reed didn't have to get out of the midfield and make the 2 stretched, which would then have them come into our middle. Is the best going forward because it covers all the lines defending. Any system that you pick can cover all the lines defending based on how you set them out in the system, Dan. Any system. If we did have a stable midfield 3, that wouldn't happen. Yeah, well, I think if, all right, let's say we play a 4-3-3, right? Let's just use the players on the field. We probably would have to change some of the players. So let's look at the bench. 4-3-3. So Dan said him want Latibo there step up into a 6. So I'm going to assume Latibo there will play this. I'm going to also assume that Reed and Anderson go and play in a Dandan system. I mean, Reed and Palmer, sorry. So let's get Palmer on the field. Gray, MB, D. And who's your right winger, Dandan? Probably Dixon or Cephas. More than likely Cephas. So let me know, Dandan. Me just a guess, you know. This is what I think your team would have look like. Maybe I'll read on the right side, man. No? 4-3-3. Right. Is that something along the lines of what you're thinking right there, so? Yeah, man. Me know a Cephas, man. And you would have start Antonio or Nichols? Which one? I think Latibo there is a lot more comfortable when he has the ball with everything in front of him. I don't think he likes to turn his back and then have to receive the ball. From the 7, 8, 9 games I saw him play with Jamaica, if you notice, you know, he plays with Coventry and he plays midfield. A lot of the time he'll drop back in line with the defenders to receive because he wants to be half turned already. But when he plays for Jamaica, typically what ends up happening is you'll see him kind of in these areas when we don't have the ball trying to defend. Then when we're building up, he's here somewhere and he's coming back to receive. And he can't do that on the half turn. He has to be kind of facing them. And he struggles to turn with the ball under pressure. I just think he just looks so much more comfortable with the game in front of him than having to turn around and turn around again. That is why I think on a back three, whether it's in the center or on the right or left, he'll always give you a better performance. And I'm talking even when I see him play midfield for Coventry as well. I think he just plays better in a back three. And other than that, if it's a back four, I don't think he has any spot in the back line except for on the right or the left. I wouldn't put him in a 2 in a back four. So I think so. Dan, if we are gonna play a 4-3-3 and Latibo there are gonna be there, who going to collect? How can he not collect the ball? So you can kick it over him head? I understand Dan. That makes sense to me. We have played this system right here. And you tell me, say the brother where we're number 15 for Jamaica, not going to collect the ball from the defense. So what him doing on the field? No, last match it was more like this. Like he was actually truly on the back line in the middle. This is more what it did look like in the last game. Something like this. Obviously, Cephas wasn't there, it was Nicholson. But that is basically what we played in the last game. And when we had the ball, this man would have dropped, this man come go wider, this man would go wider, this man push. One of these two would drop, and these two would be a little further. And they were basically interchanging who was doing that. So in possession, will it kind of look like this. Right? This man would push up, this man would push up and run into one of the channels. And then out of possession, this would get a little more compact. Lee would get more back. Lemby would get more back. They would more split. Something like this. These guys early in the game were dropping and making it a nice compact system. And if we got attack down this flank, let's say this man would put more, he would be here, Bernard would come out, everything would shift a little this way, a little bit more in here, add that solidness and numbers back. Yeah, so we were just shifting the umbrella either way. And I think as the game got stretched, we saw less of Gray and Nichols in that defensive work, and defenders were more left on an island, which led them to drop deeper, which is why we had that 10-minute spell where it felt like they were bound to score, and eventually they did get the goal. But to me, that's what it looked like. Obviously, the names were a bit different. It was Nicholson and not Cephas, but this is to me what they basically were playing for the most of the first half and second half. Even after the subs, Low came where Reed was. Reed went up here. Bernard came out. Latipo there went to where Bernard was, and Hector went to the middle. And then after the second wave of subs, he did move Latipo there into midfield with Low. And it was more of like a 4-4-2 basically. So we ended the game with a 4-2-3-1. So yeah. Why you guys talk formations so much? Formations don't matter. If you're only going to kick long ball, talk about improving team game. Well, mindset, the thing is, it's not you talk about formation so much. The thing is, sometimes the formation lends itself to your style. So you can play a 4-4-2 that is a defensive 4-4-2. You can play a 4-4-2 that is a more attacking 4-4-2. So, that baseline of the formation only tells one part of the story. You're completely right in that, if we're gonna go long, it don't matter what formation we play. The key is how can we get that formation to suit a long ball system, right? My thing is based on what the coach keeps commenting about. We need to improve possession. We need to improve keeping possession under pressure. It leads me to believe that he wants us to play a more possession and not so much of a long ball based game. So knowing that, it's important that we talk about the formations and the different formations, because what formations will let us be able to possess the ball better? It's probably going to be a formation or a system that gets good options around the ball, no matter where it is on the field, right? And I think at times right now, when we're playing out of the back, there's a decent amount of options to play, but the further up the pitch we go, those options decrease. So once we get to the middle third, that guy has less options than the guy in the back had. Once we get to the attacking third, sometimes the guy has no options. So that to me is what we need to fix. The transition from one phase to the next phase to the next phase, and having similar passing options in all of those three phases. How can we improve that? The formation can suit the players we have. That is true. That is true. If you look at like Real Madrid, for example, Carlo Ancelotti, he said before he coached Ronaldinho at AC Milan, he always played a certain way. And regardless of what players was on the team, he would make those players fit the way he wanted to play. Ronaldinho, he said, was the first player that he realized, I just need to figure out how to get this guy on the field. I need to create a system that will maximize him. And he said from ever since that team, that's how he's always coached. If you look at Real Madrid's system, this man literally invented a system where Bellingham can play almost like a supporting striker or a central attacking midfield role. And him have two wingers, Rodrigo and Vini, and he figure out a system where they can actually operate with all three of them together, even though Bellingham is not a striker and they're the two wingers on his outside. He's figured out a way to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is something that we could level at the coach. Like, is it that, he's trying so hard to play these systems that he thinks suits him or his style, but does that system really and truly suit the players that him have style? That is like the $1,000,000 question, Once we break the first line of press, there's no combination play to penetrate in final third. Absolutely, Boris Johnson. I know you're a coach, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. He has improved And I think it's shown in the passing stats like of this game compared to some previous games against Mexico. We actually had more passes and stuff, and we had more final third entries. But the problem is the final third passing accuracy is so low that we're not turning those entries into shots or shots on target or even big chances or even half chances. So that is so true, Boris Johnson. We need to figure out how, once we break that initial line of their press, how to have the same amount of options in that next phase and the phase after. So is it that the players just aren't moving up the pitch fast enough? I think a main part of it as well is something that the coach can control, and that's the first touch. We need to just be more clinical in our first touch. I think sometimes we have opportunities to do things, and because there's one bad first touch, it kind of breaks the momentum of whatever we're gonna do. So we just need to take more care on the ball as well at times too, and that's not something the coach can really do for them. You know, the fact is, JG, when we get the ball, we can't always go forward. And even when we go forward, if lanes are blocked, we have to go back in order to keep the ball. That's another thing I will agree with mindset. I do think that we're a bit one track minded sometimes when we win the ball back. It's nothing wrong with trying to break fast because we do have that kind of pace that puts fear in teams. But once you go, direct twice, let's say, that has already softened up a team's press. So now, when you look and you see the numbers maybe not in your favor, that's when you go back to Lee, who then goes back to pin up post Latipo there, and we can reset and recycle. And then once we progress from there, maybe we'll find more joy once we get into the middle and attacking third because we have built that foundation to move the ball forward. Midfielder are technical, weak, poor, with the shape to play forward, plus first touch away from pressure. Absolutely, Mr. Johnson. That's something I just referenced. Sometimes it's not the coach's setup even. I know some ways in the past and the player tends to use might not lend itself to, progressing the ball well through the phases. But there's also been times when the patterns are there and the execution is just poor. The body shape, the first touch, um, you know, maybe the release is 2 touches too late, which has now made the picture look a little different, or it's released too early. The picture has been formed yet, and you want to release it. So timing, but I think more than anything, the technicality, first touch, body shape, as coach said, um, making sure that we're passing the ball on the side of the player that is under less pressure. If a man is behind me on my left side, pass the ball to my right foot, I can shield him. Those little details, I think we need to get better at as well. For sure. For sure. For sure. For sure. Yep. So what we have about been on here about hour and 40 minutes, people. I just want to say respect to everybody who joined the show. Like up the thing. What I'm gonna do now, people, I'm gonna stay on for about another 20 minutes, and I will do this. I will, if anyone would like to have any thoughts or add to the discussion, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link in the comment section. You do not have to turn on your camera. Basically, this is just like my calling. I'm not going to bother put my phone number on the screen and have people call. But if you'd like, you can hit that StreamYard link and share your thoughts about what you think about the predicted 11. You can give me yours if you have one, or just what you think overall is going to be a key to us getting some kind of result today. Coach said team need group tactics, both attacking and defending. Just need to spend time on preparing. Yeah, it's something that I think the times that they train, which is in the morning, there's a long stretch of time with no physical activity. So my hope is, they're getting overdone or overworked with team meetings and tactical meetings because there's a lot that needs to be gone through. I agree, Mr. Boris Johnson, for sure. They need to make sure that they are, triple checking, quadruple checking, and going over these things over and over. Look at Yamal. He hardly ever force a play. If he's confronted 7 times out of 10, he finds a pass and moving space to receive again. Very true. Very true. I think a part of that too is familiarity, right? So, he plays for Barcelona, they play a certain way. guess what Spain national team play like? Barcelona. So it's something that I've heard a lot of people say, what is Jamaica's style? Can we come up with an actual style, a blueprint for patterns of play, how we want to attack, how we want to defend, how we transition? Um, if we can get to a place like that, that would be nice. But at the end of the day, it's just going to be on the coaching staff at this point to just drill into these players exactly what they want to see. I heard Greg Lee reference the set piece goal against USA was they worked on in training. So my thought is that in the open play now we can see more. We can see a goal that Jamaica scores and hear someone in the post match say, we worked on that in training yesterday, the actual build up and everything. I would love for that to happen so that fans can know, boy, okay, so something them I work on is actually being put into practice on the day. All right, time for do a group standings check, people. Let me see the latest. So nothing has changed from earlier. Romania, Belgium, Slovakia, Ukraine, all on 4 points. Currently, Romania will be first, Belgium second, Slovakia third. Now, if Ukraine fight a goal, Belgium would be out of the Euros, people. That would be crazy. Belgium looks like they're on the attack now. Carrasco now it's a 3-2. They have to do something with this. He has De Bruyne wide open on the right, plays it to him, but behind him, De Bruyne cuts back onto his left foot. It's taken away from him now. Looks like who was that? Looks like Bakayoko. That shot there with the left foot. Almost 1-0. There's Boza's former coach at Moscow, Tedesco. Now coaching Belgium national team. Ooh, that was close. All right, DJ Gig say this starting 11 can do the job later. 3-4-3. Wait, Bernard, Pinnock, Latti, Dexter Lee, Palmer Anderson, Reed, Gray, and Antonio. Yeah, so that is something similar. I think I had something similar. So you don't have first on yours. So this is DJ Gig Squad. Who you say? Palmer up on the field or Anderson? Anderson up on the field, no? So it's a Reed, so you probably have Reed there, and it's a more 3-4-3. So this is how you have yours. Something like that. Right. So that's DJ Gigs. He said this can get the job done later. I don't know if you have Latibo there in the middle, but you might have. Not sure. Maybe you have Pinnock in the middle. I'm not sure. Let me know. But that could change some things for some people. But 3-4-3. As I say, I mean, I'm going for the 3-4-2-1 just because I think whatever variation of midfielders he picks, I just don't trust that two in the midfield, especially knowing that Lee and Lembekisa will be kind of, occupied wide. So they won't be able to make that compact midfield that four could make. So I need Gray and Reed to kind of fill in for me. So almost like a 5-4-1 at times when we're defending. That, of course, can turn into a 3-4-3 when we attack. So yeah, I don't wrong you for the personnel here, DJ Gigs. In fact, if I was coaching this team, I probably would have these 11 players on the field. Might set them up a little differently than you, but yeah, I think this would be my starting 11 as well. All right, so we're into stoppage time now, people. 4 minutes of stoppage time. Here's Belgium. Mangala goes wide now. Carrasco controls in the box now. Step over to the middle. He's tackled and dives over and holds his leg. Referee doesn't even look at him. Ukraine now trying to counter. So Ukraine must know that they need a goal because the draw doesn't help them right now. They're on the attack. Here's Malinovsky. He goes to the centrally. Oh, he's dribbling through the middle. He has a shot on goal. Oh my gosh, that was a huge chance, people. Ukraine midfielder drove into the midfield, right into the box. No Belgium stepped up on him. And he clear shot inside the box, in front of the right post. And he could only put it directly at the keeper. The Belgian defenders have their hands up. They can't believe he was so free there. Wow. That baller could have been a hero for the whole country just now. The Openda is fast. If I'm the coach, I have to figure out a way to play Openda more minutes. I know Lukaku is the veteran and, no, Carrasco deserves a yellow card for Ukraine. About 2.5 minutes left. Belgium looks a bit tired. The defenders at least. So DJ Giggs. Yes, Pinnock could play in the middle. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure because based on how you worded it said Bernard Pinnock Latimer there, so I wasn't sure if that was like in order of like which way, like Bernard Pinnock Latimer there. But as you say, I like Latimer there a little more in the middle because I saw in the first game. I think a lot of that middle player is kind of the person, and I kind of trust Pinnock and Bernard more in the duels with the attackers. I'd rather more with can kind of just read the game and give supplementary support. I think Pinnock is a lot more comfortable as well if he's getting pressed on that flank to just wrap his left foot around it. So that's about their left foot is weak, but I know Pinnock is stronger. All right, people. So let's stick around till the end of this game. If anybody have any final thoughts, just drop them in the comment section. Also, anybody else that's still here, drop them on the video before the cutout if you're planning on leaving. Also, if you'd like, you can drop your starting 11 that you would like to see in the comment section. And before we here, I will put it on the screen for you. So we're into the last 30 seconds. Last chance saloon now. Ukraine goes last. Poor first touch. Back pass to Castiles. Castiles clears. Last 10 seconds now. Good pressing from the Belgians. But it's going to be a oh my gosh, what are you doing? It's going to be a throw into Ukraine. They throw it back under pressure, open the pressing. Keeper goes long, but not very far. And that is it, people. Final whistle. Rebrov looks dejected on the sideline. And Ukraine, with 4 points, will not get out of the group. So tough one to swallow there. Most times in a group, if you get 4 points, you should be good to go, especially in a tournament where the best third place teams are going through, or the top 4 third place. So yeah, tough one. Let's go ahead and show you guys on the screen how this group ended. Really mad group. Probably one of the toughest ones to predict. Most people probably would have had Belgium first, but I think most would struggle to see who was going to come next. In this one, I had Belgium, Romania, Ukraine third, and Slovakia fourth. So as you can see, I didn't get that one right. Belgium really let us down there. Didn't really do what they're supposed to do. All right, so it looks like Dan has joined. So let me add him to the stage. All right, done. Talk, make me hear you.
Oh, yeah, hear me now? The man blessed. Yeah, man, hear something in the background, Jason.
Oh, I may play. Sorry, I may play it too. Yeah, me can hear you now, done. So we have to say.
And let me say with Lati body here now, at times he can step up in the midfield area. As I say, the 4-3-3 defensive, him still like a have chance. Him still like a have chance to follow any players. Him can pick up any players in between the lines. That more want him to do when the ball him go there. It would have be a lot of work. As we watch by the game and analyze, I'm see. Mexican number 7 as him do him get the ball him and slip through right through the midfield. So if Latibo there, they really step up in the midfield, I get the chance to Palmer and Bobby could have the chance to follow the number 7 and close him down and shut him out of the game because him a dictate the players him and pass the ball him diagonally pass on the field and I slip the ball him through the lines. If the coach you see that to get the number 7 out of the game from early, the Mexican them would have no chance here pass. You know
So
what I mean?
here mother said to that no. You see if Bobby or Palmer did I push up forget on the number 7, at them time they know, I feel like we would have get exposed in the same space where you try to cover up. Because remember, done. In a football, it is impossible as a defensive team to take away everything from the other team. It's not possible. So the coach probably said, okay, every time we are playing Mexico, them kill we. Overload, cut back to the top of the 18. Overload, cut back to the top of the 18. Him said to him,
With the 4-3-3, it would have give the midfielder them Palmer can leave and go wide and shut. Bobby can go leave and go wide and shut. With the 4-3-3, it shut down all of the passing line, passing channels. With the 4-3-3,
no, all right. I'll pull up something on the screen. I'll pull up the 4-3-3 I talk about, right? And the reason why I want to put it on the screen is because basically, all right, you say if we're in this system, right? Let's just say we're playing Mexico system. So it was a 4-3-3, right? We're playing against Mexico system of 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say Caicedo is Romo, who you was talking about. So this is kind of what them look like, right? Now you're saying obviously Antonio would have been pressing on the back line. You're saying if Latibo there was pushed up higher, right? One of Palmer or Reed could go and press Romo, right? Who is Caicedo in the screen?
What do you mean when them have the ball?
Yeah. So let's say
forwards. You see the same formation or the forward with Boyz, Gray, and Antonio up there. Them are the pressing. Palmer, Reed with the right at the center circle. Latibo there does show up and close up the space between the lines.
Yeah, but what may I say is Dan, you just a one thing. I'm saying the coach said I don't want the half spaces in front of my defense to get overrun. And you say they were attacking us straight through the middle, but I don't agree with that. By the time they got to the center circle, there were people there to stop them, and that's why they started to use Arteaga on the left and Jorge Sanchez on the right to make an overload with Quinones and with Antuna, and that's how they got joy. And that's what spread us out, which eventually made us start to come through the middle more. But the first thing we did in that game was stop them from going through the middle third. Or there's the left channel, the central channel, and the right channel. We wanted to take away the central channel. So we gave up some things in the right and left. But while we were tactically disciplined, we didn't let the overloads overload us. We had enough numbers to combat it. And because we didn't stretch out too much in midfield, those cutbacks went across the ball and we were bucking them out. So
Said,
again, we can't
said
stop
in the
every
game,
single thing in a game, then it's not possible.
everything. You see, and I like say them did a thing there, Jason. You see, the way you press, cause you see if you have more numbers there, and as you said, the way you press it, Lottie body here they have those numbers just push. Them can't just easily pass the back four so easy. But only if Lottie body is show up with the midfield going cross, it would have more numbers, it would have harder for them, and it would have make some harder decisions to them. That's what I'm saying. Lembikis are not have to show up. Like him would have to do that. Lee not have to show up. Them would have stay in the back line seeing all them are go pass.
Yeah, but again, let's say we were playing the same team, right? We're playing against Mexico, and you said 4-3-3 instead. Let me show you something. You said Gray. No, you said Lee and Lembisi can have to push up because you have Cephas and Gray wide, right? That's why you said that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say them are press, them beat the press, them are attack we know. Because Lemby and Lee is there, Gray. So that means when them overload we is Reed would have to slide out via so, and Palmer would have to slide over here so. Because you can't have Pinnock coming to help like he was in the last game because we don't have enough cover in the middle. You can't have Bernard coming over to help because he can't leave the middle. So look at this now.
Listen up,
man. All of this space for Latibo there for dead. The same thing where you say
not how the system works, bro. That is not how the system works. If them are go there over one side, the team have to go back one side. Latibo there I go follow the line. Him just go follow between the space to close down the ball where pass through there. Latibo there I go cover all of this.
You know what Mexico do when we do this the last time? Them make sure switch the play. No. When we played against Mexico, in the 3-0 game, you know what they kill us with? Every time them go for overload and we shift the umbrella so much to this side, the man then pass the ball back and switch the play, and then this man on a highland by himself with three of them.
Bro, it would be that. Listen, it would have taken more.
Dan, can you see the screen what I'm doing right now on the screen?
I'm seeing the screen. It would be that difference with Palmer and Bobby Reed alone in the midfield, bro. The Mexican them still do it, bro. You could have stopped them, brother.
No, what I'm saying is we took away something. They couldn't just run through the middle of the field.
No, it wouldn't be so easy, bro.
Brother, you don't remember the first half of the game? It was literally evening shots, and shots on target, How you think that happened?
But in the game, it's not gonna be so hard for Latibo here. So way you say it still, it wouldn't be so hard for Latibo here.
I don't know why you think that though, because we've seen that Latibo there's biggest weakness as a player is covering a lot of space. And this is gonna force him to cover a lot of space.
Well, maybe him not fit him maybe have to just use lower on the back line then and put lower there so him follow the space and full of speed and everything and just intercept the ball. And as I say, it would be so hard for him. And as I say, if him there, so yeah, say you have to pass out the ball. Palmer can collect the ball and start the play. Bobby Reed can get the ball, start the play. That's body can just stay there. You don't really have to do anything like that. And he can do the same thing that him do, but just step up right there and hold that position. He still can pass up. But when the defending, he just step up right.
Yeah, if he's gonna do what you're describing, I just want him to stay like this and don't go too lateral, because I think that's where I'm getting in trouble.
I really don't think, bro, it's not really hard. If you follow the Mexican number 7, it's not like say I got go lateral to get the passes then, but it's just defending. And I think it's more it's unorganized and more take a lot out of the team. But when Pinnock have to show up, when Bernard have to show up at times and Lucky have to show up, no, but they have one man that do that job.
Yeah, I do agree that we have to get more coordinated when we do attack. Like at times it just seemed like every man want to go. You know what I'm saying? And I forget more smart. Like if Dexter gone, maybe Greg just sit that time, or somebody the umbrella for to make sure we have the cover if we lose the ball. Yeah, I mean, we did a decent enough job of not really getting hit. I think Mexico wasn't really concerned with hitting us on the counter. Once they won the ball, they wanted to reset and start their play. So it's not that much we had to deal with. But I think Ecuador will be a different in that regard. I think they will switch it up a bit more, and when they win the ball, try to attack us. You know what I'm saying? If it don't work out right away, though, they will have the patience as well to keep the ball. So there's a lot of similarities between Mexico and Ecuador, to be honest. But there are some differences as well. So that will be cool to see, like, you know, what we see different out of them compared to what we saw against Mexico. But I think a big difference for them defenders are a lot stronger in terms of just in the challenge and stuff. So I think it will be a better matchup against Antonio. But again, nobody no stronger than him. So it's not like them are going to stop him. But, you know, I don't think him can bully them as much as him did bully some of the Mexican defenders in the first game. Bless Football Let's TV. Yeah, man. So it looked like Dan internet always give him some problems. So I'm gone. But people, it's a 2-hour mark. You don't know, I have a full day of streaming ahead. We have the pre-match, we have the pre-game show that will lead right into the live watch along. So look out for that. Respect to Michael Ramsey, drop a super chat on the board. Yo, I rate that African thing we have there. That is awesome. That's a great great picture there. The coach doesn't play a system. He's just putting out a team of players who plays EPL and hope something could happen. Well, Michael Ramsey, I refuse to believe that a pro licensed coach don't have a system of play and just putting out the players. I refuse. I won't accept it, Michael Ramsey. But respect for your super chat. We're really, really thankful for that. Drop some money on the board. Definitely helps the channel. So respect and thanks to Michael Ramsey. Before I left out though, people, what I want to do is make sure that I drop in the comment section the link for the pre-match and live watch along show that will be getting started. I have it set for right at what, 4:45 p.m. my time. That's 3:45 in Jamaica, and that is what, about 9:45 in England. So I have that. Let me drop this in the comments. I'm pasting it and I'm gonna put it in here now. Let's see. So that is the link to the pre-match show. Go ahead and click it, people. I give you permission to leave the stream now. Click it, drop a like on that one, and definitely look out for that. Turn on the notification for it so you can know when we're live. If I'm not there at 4:45, that will be impossible. The only thing that might happen, I might start a little bit earlier, just depending on if I'm done with what I'm doing in the afternoon. I will be watching this game at 3. Obviously, you have Turkey versus, I think, the Czech Republic, and Georgia versus Portugal. So we're going to watch those games. Have Portugal top in the group and Turkey second. So we'll see if I got that one right when this one is done. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that one, people. I think Portugal will have a lot of changes. Probably get to see some different faces get a game. As you know, Portugal's squad depth is not normal. So definitely looking to see some different faces on there, because I think they are guaranteed to win the group, if I'm not mistaken, as of right now. Let me double check that, though. I could be wrong on that. Euro. All right, just checking that real quick. I don't want to talk foolishness. So Group F, I guess Turkey could potentially pass them, but it would be very hard to. Goal difference is a lot lopsided, so I don't think that will happen. But yeah, Czech versus Turkey and Georgia, Portugal. Basically, with a win, Czech would jump into second place, and Turkey would have to be hoping that 3 points is good enough to get through as a best third place. Turkey draw the match, they are second and through, and Czech would be out with only 2 points. I don't think that would be enough. And then as far as Group E, as I was saying earlier, everybody finished on 4 points, so a mad group. Yeah, this is crazy. 4 points. Romania ends up topping it though with 4 goals scored, same goal difference as Belgium. Belgium only 2 goals scored, so they're in second, and then Slovakia gets third place, and I believe that their 4 points will definitely get them through as well. Currently, the third place teams, because they're going to be 4 of them, Netherlands still holds on to the first spot, so I believe that's going to help us in the game that we get for we'll play against the team perhaps with the worst goal difference that's not playing a second place team. So that should help us in our matchup. Slovenia and Hungary close out that right now. Of course, as I said earlier, if let's say there's a scenario where Turkey draws with Czech Republic, they could get to 4 points and also be in that mix. They would basically knock out Hungary if they can get to 4 points, who is clinging on to that last third place qualifier on 3 points. So a lot left to play for, not necessarily for Portugal, but for everyone else playing this afternoon. Portugal, I'm sure, would want to, get the 9 points just to, be the best finisher in the first round along with Spain, and maybe get a more favorable opponent in their next matchup. But yeah, that is it, people, as far as the Reggae Boyz preview show is concerned. As I said before, people, respect again to Michael Ramsey for dropping a super chat on the stream. It is very, very much appreciated. Also, this right here is the link to my live watch along later. So go ahead and click on that, drop a like on it so that we can get it out there in the algorithm before we start the stream later. Look out for me around 4:30 to 4:45, people, my time. That's 3:45 in Jamaica. And I will be turning on the camera, getting set for the big matchup with Jamaica and Ecuador at 6 o'clock my local time, 5 in Jamaica, from the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Yeah, so big up to everyone who joined the stream. Big up to everyone who commented, dropped their teams, liked the video. We really greatly appreciate all of that, and we love the support that the show has been receiving. And until later, people, in a few hours I'll be back. But until then, big up on yourself and don't fret too much. Just have a little faith. All right, people, bless up. We'll be back in a few hours with the live watch along and the pre-match breakdown. All right, respect and later. Bless.